The Green Berets was not just a war movie. It was a full-scale ideological battlefield. It was not simple Hollywood patriotism. It was a cinematic firefight fought during one of the most explosive moments in American history. Behind the scenes, chaos erupts. Sets sink into mud. Actors collapse from brutal heat. Military advisors clash with John Wayne. Political protests erupt outside theaters. Today, we uncover 20 weird facts about the Green Berets. Fact number 20. The Pentagon rewrites the script. The Green Berets does not begin as a John Wayne passion project. It begins as a script that the Pentagon immediately seizes and reshapes. Hollywood rarely sees this level of intervention. What audiences do not know is that military officials hold daily meetings with the filmmakers. They cross out pages. They add new scenes. They insist on specific language that matches official Vietnam talking points. It is not creative collaboration. It is tactical control. The script shifts from war drama to recruitment message. Scenes that show internal doubt vanish. Scenes that glorify battlefield action multiply. Even the tone changes into something more rigid and heroic. On set, actors quietly talk about how unusual this is, yet they follow the tightened call sheets. Wayne supports the changes, fully believing the film serves a higher purpose. This fact sets the stage for every conflict that follows. Fact number 19. John Wayne fights a personal war. John Wayne approaches the Green Berets not as a role, but as a mission. Vietnam divides America. Protests surge. College campuses erupt with anger. Wayne sees it as his duty to counter what he calls growing negativity against the troops. What audiences never see is that Wayne bankrolls the project personally. When the studio hesitates, he pushes through every barrier. He flies to Washington. He meets officials. He argues that this film must exist. It is not stubbornness. It is conviction. On set, he works through brutal heat. He handles heavy gear during practical effects sequences. He delivers speeches in single takes. Crew members whisper that Wayne carries the entire production like a real commander. The emotional weight of that belief system shapes every frame. Whether viewers agree or not, the intensity of Wayne's commitment becomes the film's driving force. Fact number 18. The film is shot in Georgia, not Vietnam. Audiences assume the Green Berets shoots in the jungles of Southeast Asia. Not true. The entire operation relocates to Fort Benning, Georgia. It is not exotic location shooting. It is a controlled military training ground turned into a Hollywood battlefield. Every tree, every road, every fallen bunker comes from a mapped design approved by Army personnel. The production builds full-scale villages. They dig trenches. They set up mock guerrilla camps. At dawn, real troops march nearby, mixing reality with film illusion. But the biggest challenge erupts at night. Georgia humidity thickens like steam. Camera lenses fog. Lights overheat. Sweat pours from actors who must perform intense scenes in heavy gear. What looks like tropical warfare actually becomes a fight against southern heat. The illusion works so well that audiences swear they are seeing Vietnam itself. Fact number 17. The press targets the movie before it releases. The Green Berets faces hostile fire long before cameras roll. Major newspapers attack the idea of the film. Critics publish editorials saying Hollywood should not take a political stance during a controversial war. It is not simple pre-release criticism. It is organized resistance. Writers warn that the movie may spread propaganda. Protest groups threaten to picket theaters. Some studio executives fear a boycott. Wayne refuses to retreat. He says the film will speak for itself. When the movie finally premieres, the protests erupt as predicted. Crowds shout outside theaters. Police line the sidewalks. Audiences walk past handmade signs to enter showings. The tension becomes part of the film's identity. Viewers watch the story and feel the weight of the real world pressing against it. Few movies in the 60s ignite this kind of atmosphere before anyone even sees a scene. Fact number 16. The child actor's role causes real controversy. One of the most emotional roles in the Green Berets belongs to the young Vietnamese boy, Ham Chuck. Audiences adore him. They see innocents caught in war. But behind the scenes, his presence triggers fierce criticism. It is not gentle debate. It is explosive backlash. Activists claim the film uses a child to promote a political message. Journalists focus entire articles on his scenes. Military officials insist those scenes remain because they reflect real wartime relationships. On set, the boy receives strict protection. Heat, noise, explosions, all carefully controlled. Crew members shield him with protective gear during practical effects. His final scenes stir strong emotions both on set and off. Some viewers say he symbolizes hope. Others argue he is being used as narrative reinforcement. No matter the interpretation, his presence becomes one of the most debated elements of the film. Fact number 15. The set builds are so massive, they resemble real bases. The Green Berets does not rely on small sets or clever angles. It builds enormous battlefield structures across Fort Benning. These structures stretch over hills, forests, and open fields. Crew members joke that they are basically constructing a real forward operating base. It is not movie making. It is military-scale engineering. Barracks rise from raw earth. Guard towers loom above tree lines. Sandbag walls wrap around perimeter zones. Engineers coordinate with Army personnel to match real-world construction patterns. During filming, extras march in formation, while helicopters circle overhead, creating a hypnotic mix of real troop movement and cinematic choreography. The immersion becomes so intense that visiting families think they are touring an active training zone. These massive builds create a raw authenticity that no soundstage could replicate. The result is a landscape that swallows the actors and pulls audiences straight into the conflict. Fact number 14. The helicopter scenes are dangerously real. The helicopter sequences in the Green Berets look intense because they are intense. The production uses real UH-1 Huey helicopters flown by active duty pilots who train daily for combat operations. The actors feel every vibration, every sudden descent, every blast of rotor wash hitting their faces. It is not controlled Hollywood safety. It is raw military machinery. During one rehearsal, a Huey drops lower than intended, sending dust into camera rigs and knocking crew members off balance. Another time, a rotor blade passes closer to an outpost set wall than anyone likes. Despite these scares, the pilots remain calm, guiding the cast through each shot with deadly precision. What audiences see is not a simulation. It is the real coordination of men and machines built for war. The tension from those flights bleeds through every frame, giving the film its unmistakable bite. Fact number 13. The village attack sequence nearly gets out of control. The iconic village attack sequence is meant to be a centerpiece of controlled practical effects. Explosives, squibs, fire trails, smoke towers, everything planned to hit on cue. But the heat and humidity shift the chemistry of the pyrotechnics. Some charges ignite too early, others flare larger than expected. One explosion sends debris farther than the safe zone. It is not organized chaos. It is sudden unpredictability. Actors sprint through thick black smoke that stings the eyes. Crew members rush to reposition hoses. A stunt performer slips on wet soil created by extinguishers. Yet the cameras keep rolling because the footage looks brutally real. What audiences later see as intense action is, in fact, the cast reacting to unpredictable blasts and spreading fire patterns. It becomes one of the most dangerous days of the shoot, and one of the most unforgettable scenes in the final cut. Fact number 12. The dog character almost steals the film. The Green Berets features a military dog that instantly becomes a fan favorite. But behind the scenes, that dog creates chaos the team never expects. It is not a simple animal role. It is a full character with multiple action beats. The dog must run through explosions, leap over trenches, and react to gunfire. Trainers work with him daily to build comfort around noise and heat. Even so, he occasionally darts off mid-take, chasing movement in the trees. During one scene, he sits down refusing to follow Wayne until the trainer steps in off camera. Crew members laugh, but the delay wrecks the shooting schedule. Still, the dog performs with surprising precision once warmed up. Audience members later say he brings heart to the story. On set, he brings unpredictability. That contrast becomes one of the production's most memorable behind-the-scenes stories. Fact number 11. The score is recorded under tight political pressure. The Green Berets soundtrack may sound heroic, but the process behind it carries real political weight. Composer Miklos Rosa faces constant scrutiny as government representatives frequently check in on his progress. They want a score that feels patriotic, yet not overly triumphant. Strong, but not martial. Emotional, but not sentimental. It is not creative freedom. It is controlled tension. Rosa revises themes multiple times after screenings of rough dailies. He adjusts crescendos. He softens brass lines. He shifts percussive cues that officials think feel too aggressive. In the recording studio, musicians feel the unusual atmosphere. Performances become careful, precise, tightly measured. What audiences eventually hear is a score filtered through layers of political sensitivity, yet still powerful enough to drive the film's emotional core. It stands as one of the most carefully moderated soundtracks of its era. Fact number 10. The mid-roll moment explodes during production. A major night shoot pushes the entire production to the edge. The heat is heavy, and the lighting towers sway in the wind. Actors run through deep mud until their boots nearly vanish. Tension rises as takes fall apart, and tempers flare across the set. Wayne stops everything and orders a complete reset that saves the sequence from disaster. The crew regroups, and the stunt team recalibrates the explosives while the cast regains focus. The final footage becomes one of the strongest scenes in the film. And since we are halfway through this list, go ahead and like and subscribe, because the next facts reveal even deeper turmoil behind this movie. Fact number 9. Journalists are banned from parts of the set. Journalists flock to Fort Benning, hoping to witness real military cooperation. Instead, many meet locked gates and strict escort rules. The blocked areas are not about safety. They are about image control. Public affairs officers choose what can be filmed and what must stay unseen. Explosive effects zones remain off limits, and politically sensitive scenes are hidden behind guarded sections of the set. Some reporters leave furious, believing the production hides deeper truths, yet the restrictions stay in place from start to finish. The secrecy creates a cloud of mystery around the film, and that aura only fuels the debate that follows long after release. Fact number 8. Actors train like real special forces. Before cameras roll, the cast undergoes intense special forces training at Fort Benning. This is not light preparation. It is a crash course in tactical movement and survival routines. Actors crawl through wire under blazing heat. They march long distances with heavy gear and fire blanks from real rifles, while instructors bark corrections. The physical, strain shocks many performers, especially those unused to military discipline. Some suffer bruises and heat exhaustion, while others dig deep, determined to match the real soldiers training nearby. What viewers later see is not polished theater. It is muscle memory forged through sweat and grit, and that realism shapes the tone of every battlefield scene. Fact number 7. Wayne rewrites scenes on the spot. Wayne treats the script as a living organism rather than a fixed document. If he senses a scene lacks force, he rewrites dialogue and adjusts blocking right on the set. This is not chaos. It is instinct, driven by decades of filmmaking experience. Crew members scramble to keep pace as marks shift and beats evolve. Some actors struggle with the constantly changing material, while others thrive in the heightened energy. These rapid shifts give many scenes an unpredictable pulse. The emotion audiences feel often comes from moments created in real time, rather than carefully planned compositions. Fact number 6. The firebase attack is filmed in one terrifying night. The massive firebase assault sequence is captured in a single night to preserve raw darkness and battlefield tension. Practical explosions line the perimeter, and smoke curls thick across the ground. Actors sprint through choking haze guided only by lanterns and shouted cues. The crew scrambles to film every angle before dawn ends the illusion. Several shots almost collapse when trenches weaken, or smoke blinds the lenses. The pressure is relentless, yet the final sequence becomes one of the most gripping moments in the movie. It is one night of chaos that transforms into cinematic power. Fact number 5. The final rescue scene pushes everyone to their limit. The final rescue sequence is filmed during scorching daylight that drains the cast and crew within hours. Dust fills the air and clings to every surface, turning simple actions into exhausting tasks. Stunt performers sprint through blasting heat while carrying heavy gear. Camera operators fight shaking hands as the temperature rises past safe limits. The emotional weight of the scene overwhelms several actors as they push through long takes without rest. Despite the strain, the footage becomes a defining moment of the film. What audiences feel as heroic triumph is built on real fatigue and real struggle that saturate every frame with raw intensity. Fact number 4. The premiere night turns into a national flashpoint. When the Green Berets premieres, the theater becomes a battleground of opposing beliefs. Supporters form long lines and treat the film like a patriotic event. Protesters gather across the street holding signs and shouting through megaphones. Police units stand between the two groups as tension surges through the night. Inside the theater, the audience reacts with strong emotion, especially during scenes that highlight sacrifice and duty. Outside, the shouting continues until the final credits roll. The premiere does not just launch a film. It becomes a statement that reflects a divided nation, and the moment marks one of the most heated openings in Hollywood history. Fact number 3. Critics attack the film before seeing it. Major critics condemn the Green Berets long before watching a single frame. Articles appear predicting the film will distort the Vietnam conflict or glorify one side too heavily. Some writers admit they intend to dislike the film no matter its content. This backlash places enormous pressure on the cast, who already face the emotional strain of portraying active conflict. When reviews finally arrive, they are brutal and dismissive. Yet the public response tells a different story, as many viewers pack theaters for weeks. The split between critics and audiences becomes one of the widest gaps of the decade and cements the film as a cultural lightning strike. Fact number 2. Military advisors clash with Hollywood style. Military advisors work closely with the filmmakers, but tensions erupt when realism collides with cinematic pacing. Advisors demand accurate tactics and disciplined formations, while the director wants clear composition and dramatic rhythm. These opposing goals spark heated arguments on dusty training fields. At times, the advisors halt filming, saying the movements look wrong. At other moments, the director refuses changes that disrupt the emotional flow. The push and pull creates a hybrid style that feels both authentic and theatrical. What audiences see is not strict realism, but controlled intensity, shaped through constant negotiation. This fusion becomes one of the film's most debated creative features. Fact number 1. John Wayne refuses to show weakness on camera. Wayne decides early that his character must project unwavering resolve. This choice shapes the entire production. During emotional scenes, he keeps his posture strong and his voice steady, even when the script suggests vulnerability. Crew members notice he never slumps, never hesitates, and never portrays doubt. It is not ego, it is dedication to the image he believes America needs during a turbulent era. This unbreakable stance becomes a defining part of the film. Whether audiences agree or not, the force of his conviction radiates through every scene and turns his performance into a symbol that extends far beyond the story. Bonus fact: a secret cameo hides in the background for 50 years. Hidden deep in one scene is a face almost no one notices. During the nighttime perimeter sequence, a young soldier stands near a bunker watching the chaos unfold. He speaks no lines, and the camera only catches him for a brief moment. Years later, Film historians freeze the frame and realize the truth. The soldier is an actual special forces instructor who worked on the production. He steps in only because an extra fails to appear on time. His brief appearance becomes a time capsule, capturing a real soldier inside a Hollywood recreation of his own war zone. It is a tiny detail, yet it ties the film to living history in a way no one expects. The Green Berets was not just a film. It was a storm of belief conflict and sweat that shaped every frame. Its legacy lives beyond politics and beyond criticism because it grew from the real-world pressure of a nation in turmoil. If you want more deep dives into hidden Hollywood stories, stay tuned and join the mission next time.